Poem number 7 of the 26 poems I'll be memorizing in 2026 is Surprised by Joy by William Wordsworth. Surprised by joy, impatient as the wind, I turned to share the transport. Oh, with whom but thee, deep buried in the silent tomb, that spot which no vicissitude can find? Love, faithful love, recalled thee to my mind. But how could I forget thee? Through what power, even for the least division of an hour, have I been so beguiled as to be blind to my most grievous loss? That thought's return was the worst pang that sorrow ever bore, save one only, when I stood forlorn, knowing my heart's best treasure was no more, that neither present time nor years unborn could to my sight that heavenly face restore. So I absolutely love this poem. It's an Italian sonnet, which is one of my favorite formats. An Italian sonnet is a 14-line poem. Usually each line is 10 syllables long, and it has a very specific rhyming scheme, which is really interesting. I just love the limitations of that structure. In fact, William Wordsworth has another sonnet where he talks about how the confines of a sonnet can really create just beautiful poetry. But I especially love this poem because of how beautifully emotional and heavy it is. Wordsworth's daughter died at the age of 3, and this poem is about him dealing with the grief from that loss. And particularly, it's about a moment shortly after she had passed where he encountered something unexpected, something surprising. I like to imagine that he, saw one of his favorite birds or something, and he turned instinctively to share and point it out to his daughter, who had always been there, and in so doing was reminded of her absence once again. And then he even beats himself up for having forgotten that she was gone. But through what power, even for the least division of an hour, have I been so beguiled as to be blind to my most grievous loss? And then he says that the return of that thought, the reminder that she is no longer with him, was the worst pang that sorrow ever bore, except for the initial moment when he knew she was no more, that she would never be by his side again. And I just feel like that experience is so relatable for any of us who have lost a loved one. I can't imagine losing a child, but I think it's really inspiring and beautiful for Wordsworth to be so raw and vulnerable about his grief in this sonnet, and it's certainly one that I'll be reflecting on often. But that is poem number 7, and I hope it brings some joy into your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time.